Hey everybody, it's Rollie, and I want to welcome you to Chatting with Wisdom and hoping that everything is nice and clear, new system I have on today. So I'm hoping everything is good and plugged in properly. But for those of you who are, I wanted to be able to mention that we are still having, we are going to be having our free workshop coming up in September. So if you haven't yet checked it out, or if you haven't yet opened up your email, then please check that out. It's going to be September 7th to the 14th. So it's a 7-day free workshop. And so looking forward to having you guys join me. And so today I would love to be able to, and I forgot to ask how to pronounce your first name.
It's Yudi.
Yudi. Okay, perfect. So Dr. Yudi Ross is here with us today, and she is an accomplished educational leader with 15 plus years of high impact experience spearheading educational programs, policies, and initiatives to strive for institution growth, proven success designing and implementing courses, strategy, development of school improvement, framework with change management. Apparently, I can't follow commas today. and aligning behavioral management to enhance student success. Stellar record of architecting and accelerating the growth of academic learning programs, instrumental in developing pedagogical programs, including multi-mode, blended and e-learning platforms for diverse groups, and skilled in leveraging superior communication and analytic skills to deliver training, development programs, and institute for policies. So welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on this morning.
So this is really great. So you're talking about all the different things that, so we're going to be talking about breaking through imposter syndrome and stepping into her story. So do you want to first start off with just sharing a little bit about what is your story?
Oh, yes. Let's get into that. Thank you so much. It's been a journey for me, and breaking through imposter syndrome and stepping into her story is actually about just coming into who you are finally able to be. I know a lot of us go through different stages in life, and we all come out stronger in the end. And coming through, my story is about becoming in a situation, being complacent for so many years. And after you've been complacent, you kind of have like a epiphany moment. You have that breakthrough moment when you wake up. You finally wake up and you step into your zone of genius, and you realize how you have allowed yourself to remain complacent for so many years, and now you're breaking out of those comfort zones. And it's amazing how many of us have so many accolades, and but you have those underlining doubts, the limiting beliefs holding you back because you're scared. You're really scared to step into the unknown, even though you have the ability to do so. But the place of comfort and just being relaxed and don't want to fail at anything. You do not want to fail. Allowed you to remain complacent, and it has taken me so many years to say that, you know what, I no longer want to do what I was doing. And it felt like everything just was shutting off of myself when I decided that it was time for me to break free. I do believe that 2020 was probably a challenging year for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. 2020 was like a revelation for me. It allowed me to create different opportunities for myself. I created 2 different companies which is where I'm at right now. So 2020 was a breakthrough year for me, and going into 2021 is where I'm at right now. So I am here to share my story with everyone, to let them know that things are possible. Once you step out and step away from your comfort zone, and you start communicating, and you start networking, and you start putting things out into the universe, so many things open up for you. And it's just, you would not imagine how things just transform for yourself once you break free. And there's a lot of just talking to other women and communicating with just perfect strangers. They can relate to what it is that you have gone through. And they're like, oh my gosh, I can completely understand what you have gone through. I didn't know you were feeling like that. Or those are the things that I'm going through right now. So the biggest thing that I can tell anyone is start talking, start communicating, start sharing your story. Because everyone has a story to tell, and you're your unique messenger. We all have a story to tell, and there's always going to be at least one person out there that can definitely relate to what it is that you have to say.
And it's so true. So one of the things that I find is that I have, I'm getting some feedback. So I'm hoping that the audience isn't getting feedback, but so one of the things that I have that I hear often is that women are they don't talk about the things that they've actually been successful about, or because then it becomes bragging. And but there's also that underlying fear of, like, they're going to think that I think that I'm better than them, or what happens if they don't like me? Or, but one of the things that you said is that everybody has a story to tell, and there's going to be at least one person who relates to your story. And that's one of the things that I find, like, even I do a lot of group coaching, and when I'm doing the group coaching, there's a lot of times that people are like, somebody will be talking about their own problem, and so we'll be doing that group coaching, and whatever session, whatever it is that that particular person is going through, that is sharing, that's on the hot seat, they end up talking about something, and the other women inside the group are like, oh, that the story's not exactly the same, but like my feelings are the same, or circumstances are the same, or like there's lots of different things that are the same, and people are then go, oh wow, like they get that aha moment of, I'm not alone, right? So we get that fear of breaking through. But like one of the things that you talked about was, or that, like, in terms of the topic that you chose, was about that imposter syndrome. So like, how do you overcome that imposter syndrome?
Oh yes, and what is so interesting, Rollie, is that I did not even know that I had suffered from imposter syndrome for so many years. And I feel a lot of people out there do not even know that they suffer from imposter syndrome, because, imposter syndrome is loosely defined with doubting yourself and feeling like a fraud, and is disproportionately affects high achieving people who cannot accept their accomplishments. Mm-hmm. And they feel that they're not, they question their accolades. And I definitely know that I'm a high achieving woman with multiple advanced degrees. And however, no matter how many degrees that I had, I just felt that I was not living up to my full potential. I just kept on saying that, okay, I need to do more. I need to do more. But I had more than enough. I had more than enough, but in my mind, I felt that I needed to achieve more. And looking back over the years in my career, I had accomplished so many things, and I have done so many things, but it wasn't enough for me. It was like perfectionism. I'm striving for more. Yeah. And I do struggle with perfectionism. I definitely do. And when I started researching and I created my course on breaking through imposter syndrome, and I looked through the various type of imposter syndrome, I could relate to every single one of the types of imposter syndrome that I had probably encountered at one point in my career. I'm like, oh, I'm a perfectionist. I'm the superwoman. Every single type of them. And it was just like a revelation that came over me. Yeah. And then once I started talking about it, and other people, there was like, oh my gosh, I can relate to you. I completely understand what it is that you're talking about. I had to reevaluate myself. I had to take a look within myself, and I had to definitely change my mindset. And it's not something that took place overnight to change the mindset. And one of the things that happened with me to overcome imposter syndrome, knowing to say that, okay, I have accomplished all of these things. I have so many accolades, is that I need to be satisfied with what it is that I have accomplished, because it has been a great journey, and it took me a long time to get to where that I am, and it is enough. Yeah, it definitely is, because other people see it, and I had to realize that I need to see it, as well.
And that's one of the things is, oh, sorry, we cut you off.
No problem.
So one of the things that we hear, like one of the things that you said, is that I am enough. Like I have all that it takes. I've done all the things. I don't need any more courses. I don't need any more programming. I don't need any more training. I can do this. And I think that that's where a lot of people get stuck, right? So we get stuck behind that. Well, if we can just go ahead and, well, if I can just take this one more course, if I can just take this one more thing, then I'll be better, or I'll be just as good as this person. And I think one of the other things that we see with the imposter syndrome is where we're always checking out to see what everybody else is doing, right? So we do need to know what other people are doing, but at the same time, that can't be where we get stuck. That can't be where we get where we stop kind of moving forward, is that being able to, and I can't remember the quote. I have a friend who uses a particular quote that, and she says it often, and it's about that, that statement of getting started is better than like being still, right? So like, because you're always trying to like, well, if I can get one more thing ready, or if I can, so just get started, and everything else will start to come into play if you start getting started, right? So like, it's that start, it's that kickstart of getting things going, because you've had your life experiences, you've had your work experiences, you've had relationship experiences, you've had all these different things that make you who you are, and all these experiences. But then we hide behind that perfectionism, like you said, or behind that one more course, or that one more something that stops us from taking that leap and kind of taking action.
You're absolutely right. And getting started, I do feel, is one of the hardest thing. Some people just do not know how to start.
Yeah.
And that is one of the biggest issues, because I've had a lot of colleagues come to me and say, how do you start? What do you do? They want to transition, or they want to go into maybe get a second career or go into a different field. And the first thing that will come to them is that, how do I start? What is it that I need to do? To me, it comes easy now. And I just say, just do it. All you have to do is just begin. Once you take the first initial steps, everything will come into place, because that's exactly what I did. When I started my educational consulting business, I did not have the first inkling what it is that I was going to do. I just started. And what I did was I started researching. I started connecting with like-minded individuals so that I could connect with, so that I can reach out to them and get some feedback on the necessary steps that I needed to take. And once you start connecting, and once you start networking, the opportunities are endless. When I started my first business, I didn't know what direction I was going in. I did not know if I was going left or right. However, networking with perfect strangers, they opened up the doors for me. They literally opened up the doors for me and showed me which directions I needed to take. So just starting can be literally just that simple. There's so many resources and so many people out there that's willing to take you by the hand and lead you down the right path. And I think that was one of the things that was just so scary for me at the beginning, and why I remained so complacent where I was at, because I was scared that I didn't know what I was going to do, who was going to help me. Did I have the right resources? Did I have any money? And it was not that complicated. It was not that complicated because I had the knowledge, I had the wisdom, I knew what it is that I needed to do, but I was scared. Yeah. I was scared to take that first step into the unknown. And once you start talking about it, because a lot of people are scared. They're scared to step into the unknown. And that's the number one factor that holds a lot of people back, stepping into the unknown.
Yeah. And fear is like a powerful emotion, right? So it puts us into that fight, flight, or freeze. And so it puts us into that anxious state or whatever it is that's going on, and not knowing what's going to happen or how it's going to happen. But until we actually take that plunge, right? So like if we use a bicycle, for example, when we first started learning how to be able to ride a bike, if we could actually recall that, is that we had that fear of like, okay, my parents are going to let go. And once they let go, then I'm going to be on my own. And so then when we stay in that fear of like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to make it, I'm not going to be able to make it, then you end up falling and tripping over whatever it is that's in the path. Whereas if you're like, no, I can do this. And when you've got people behind you cheering you on, and we've all got people behind us cheering us on, we just need to sometimes listen to that. Because we don't hear, because they're like, oh, you're like, no, they're just saying that because they're my best friend, or no, though, that's because that's my dad. My dad's of course is going to be saying that, or like, no, that's my coworker that we've been working together for such a long time, right? So, but we've got people behind us that cheer us on. We do have people on the sidelines sometimes that are going to try and hold us back, but if we can actually find that within ourselves, it'll allow us to be able to take that leap forward that we need to, being able to get through that fear. And so this is one of those strategies around mindset, isn't it?
Yes, you're absolutely right. And the people that are behind us cheering us on, it's very interesting that you brought that up, because I was one of those persons that did not realize that I had such a big cheerleading squad. And once I started, stepping into my zone of genius, all of these people came out of the woodworks and was telling me how I inspired them. And I was like, what are you talking about? I never knew that. It was like, oh my gosh, I followed your journey from when you got your first master's, and that inspired me to get my master's. And then when you went back and got your second master's, and it was just astounding, and it just brought me to tears that people was watching my journey, that I had no idea that they were watching my journey throughout the years. That's what I was doing. And when they told me about it and how I inspired them to do better and go after their dreams and their accomplishment, I was just at a loss for words. I was completely at a loss for words. Here I am thinking, okay, I'm just doing what's best for me. I'm just following, what it is that I want for myself. But other people are watching me at the same time. And here I am being an inspiration to others that I had no idea. I simply had no idea. Of course, I may think that, okay, maybe I'm inspiring like one person, someone is looking at me. But when someone actually comes out later and actually speaks to you about it, that how you have impacted them over the years and you had no idea, is such a fulfilling feeling. It definitely is. So it makes you feel like, okay, you're definitely doing something right.
Yeah.
And all of those doubts that you had in the back of your mind, it silenced them. It definitely silenced them and then put them to rest. So now that I have been starting my business, starting my educational consulting, to letting educators know that there's an exit strategy for those of us that have been in the education field, because some educators may feel that that's all that there is for them to do. To be an educator. You can be an educator, but you need to have an exit strategy. What is your exit strategy? And that's what I want educators to know, that you can monetize on your skills as an educator. There's so many things that you can do, but they're just so scared to step into the unknown. They just feel that, okay, I'm just going to be in a classroom for the rest of my life. And regardless if that's something that they do not want to do any longer. And Rollie, that is something that I'm just so passionate about, because that was me.
Yeah.
I knew my time in the classroom was up, but I remained complacent because I was just so scared. I was so scared because I did not know what I was going to do. Even though I have 5 advanced degrees, I said, I don't know, what am I going to do? I have a great salary, I have great benefits. I don't want to leave this. What am I going to do?
Yeah. And that just kind of makes me think about one of my friends who are a teacher. And that's one of the things that she is an educator, and she's a great educator. But when you were talking about, like, what do I want to do? What's that exit strategy? And one of the things that I am so admired by her is that she has an exit strategy. So she's going to continue to teach until whenever that plan lapses. But then as she's going through that process, is that she knows where is it that she wants to be able to go? How is it that she wants to be able to come out of education in that world? And so when she's ready for that retirement, what are the next steps that she's going to have? And so I am so admired by the way that she is ready and that she has an idea of what's the next step, so that when she's ready to take that plunge, she's ready to go. And so she's doing a lot of different things that are actually leading her into that area. And so when she shared that, it was like, this is amazing. This is incredible. That's what it is that you're looking to be doing. And so because we get stuck in our rut of our habits and the things that are actually going on. And even for me to be able to start my own practice, that has been like when I first changed careers. And this is like my lifelong practice dream was to be able to get into business for myself and do the things that I wanted to be able to do for me and follow my own path, as opposed to where agencies are telling you what it is that you need to be doing and how, and government funding cuts and coming in and out and all the things that are going on that way. And so when I ended up getting sick, that was my stepping stone. That was my time of like, no, this is my time to step in. It's my time to step out and be who I am and take that dream. And has it been easy? Absolutely not. Going into business for yourself is definitely not an easy path. And so, but being able to contain with that fire in your belly of like, where do I go next and how do I want to be able to do this? So like even just coming on, and it's about taking that step. So coming on today, so since Wednesday, I've had no computer, and that was one of the things that I shared with you earlier. And so we just got a computer, a temporary computer for me for yesterday or today, and getting everything set up and until the parts come in for my computer. But I had to like unplug everything and get everything set up and make sure that everything is happening. And so like today, for example, is I can't even look at you. I have to be looking at the camera. The laptop is down lower. So I have to be conscious of that. But I always show up to be who it is that I am. And one of the things that you said earlier that really rang that bell was that the people that come out of the woodwork and say, oh my gosh, you inspire me. And I get that often. And it's like, okay, why do I inspire you? Like now I know because I've worked through that, but it's like, I am inspired by the women who come in like yourself, who pick a topic. So to be able to come on Chatting with Wisdom is you pick a topic, you give me your own brief bio, and you say, this is what we want to be able to talk about today. And it's not rehearsed. We don't know ahead of time where the conversation is going to go. We get to be just naturally us when we actually get to come on and have these conversations. But it's about being able to take that step forward and being able to take that step and taking that leap and being who we are and showing up in the world as who we are. And because that's who people want to be able to see. They want to see who we are, not can we not can we stumble through the bio by reading, or do we want to, like, how do we want to have these conversations? What is it that's happening that way? And so it's so important for us to be able to just take that leap and have faith in ourselves that we're going to get to where we need to be. We are going to have stumbling blocks, but we're going to get there, aren't we?
Yes, we definitely are. What you just said speaks volumes. And this last week, it was just affirmation. I'm an adjunct professor at several universities and colleges. And it was just, I was offered a full-time position at one of the universities. This is just a short story that I want to share with you. And here comes the imposter syndrome sneaking back up on me. I was offered a full-time position, and this was like the perfect position that I had wanted for such a long time. And in the back of my mind, it was saying, this is what you want, you should take it. But the salary wasn't where I wanted it to be, but it was the experience, what it would have given me, the leadership experience and the managerial experience in higher education. It all aligned. But I've just started my businesses, and then I had another business that was taking off, that's becoming very successful. And so in the back of my mind, I'm saying, okay, should I take this one that's guaranteed? Then I could revisit the salary probably 6 months down the line to see if I could get it where I want to be, or do I concentrate and stick with what it is that I'm doing and, work on my legacy and build on my business and my brand for what it is that I'm doing. I've spent almost 20 years in an industry. I've put in the work. Now it's time for me to, spend the next 20 years on building my legacy. So it was a tough decision. I was going back and forth. And the HR kept calling me because they wanted me to make a decision right away. They wanted me to make a decision right away. And I had a list of pros and cons. I wrote down a list of pros and cons. Continue to work on, my businesses and build what it is that I was building, because I can see down the line that I'm going to be successful in what it is that I have started. And I didn't want to put it on a back burner and then, spend all this time into going back into building someone else's legacy and making them successful and not making myself successful. So in the end, it was a very tough decision. When I gave her my decision, I said, I definitely want to help you guys out. I can help you out on a part-time basis, but I cannot commit full time. So I was still, a part of me still wanted to help them out. I said I didn't want to not commit fully, but I still was going to give you some of my time part-time. I said, and then that way I still had time to do what it is I needed to do and grow my businesses.
Yeah.
And she told me, okay, she will take it back to a director and come back to me and let me know if that would work for them, so on and so forth, because I still teach as an adjunct with them. And that was something important for me that I did not want to lose as well. Right after I had the conversation with her, probably 30 minutes later, a client that I had marketed to 3 weeks ago they called me and they was like, you know what? We want to use your services. We're going to be going with you going forward. And I just worked with them yesterday. So in my mind, that was affirmation that I had made the right decision to continue to grow my business, because it's invisible growth. The work that I'm doing now is coming back full circle. So it's just, the doubts and the fears came back in my mind, like, oh my gosh, did I make the right decision? Is this going to work? I was, part of me was like so scared. Did I make that right decision? Did I just, fumble myself? Should I have gone back and take that full-time position? But I know in my mind that the work that I'm doing now is very scary. Like you said, it's so scary stepping out there, not knowing what's going to come next. I don't know what's going to come next. It's just that I know that I'm putting so much work and I'm putting in so much effort into what I'm doing right now and building on my legacy. I know that, success doesn't happen overnight. It does not happen overnight. And I know that over time that my businesses are going to be extremely, extremely successful. I'm just speaking it into existence now because I've been putting in so much work into them. And it's something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that I'm passionate about as well. So
and that passion, right? So like that passion is what actually helps to drive us forward. And when we put out our own lights, and so it's like we have that something that we're passionate about, but then we dim ourselves so that we're not actually stepping into where it is that you need to be, or where it is that you want to be able to go. And so so one of the things that, in terms of the title that you had chosen for today, you were talking about stepping into her story, as in like her story as in one word. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yes, one of the reasons this title is so near and dear to my heart is because stepping into her story is breaking into going through a journey. Going through a journey throughout your years. You can relate it to your journey. I'm relating it to the journeys that I have gone through, and I'm finally stepping into who it is that I have become. Throughout the years, throughout my career, throughout my life, I've transformed from one person to another person. And throughout that transformation, there's a story along the way. I can tell you a story for each person that I have, or each character in my life that I have been. And I'm finally stepping into my zone of genius, if I would say. And I always tell my students, you may have several zones of geniuses, and it may take you quite some time to finally get to that place that you need to be. And it's a transformation that you may have to go through to get to where you need to be. And I'm definitely not ashamed to say that sometimes you have to go through some valleys to get to where you're at right now. And those valleys may be very deep, and it may seem that you may not get out of them. But when you come out of them, you will have a story to tell. And that story will transform not only your life, but it will definitely transform someone else's life as well. And my story that I share with anyone that listens to it is a transformation. And one of the reasons that I say that, Rollie, and this is like, I don't want to get all emotional right now, because literally I have a very small email list of subscribers that I send a weekly email out to. And one I had shared a couple of weeks ago, maybe like a month ago, I had forgot to send the email out, and I was scrambling to put an email together. I was telling my VA, oh my gosh, we got to put this email out together. And I was rushing to put the email out. And I was talking about being complacent and how I just allow complacency just to hinder me, and how, just do what it is that you want to do. Do not allow anyone to deter you from doing what you need to do. And some other things I said in the email, mind you, I have an email list of like probably less than 60 people on it. So I sent the email out, and one of the young ladies on my email responded to me, and she says, "Thank you, you saved me." And I was getting dressed. I was getting dressed, and you know how you get a notification on your phone, and I really didn't pay attention to it until I finished getting myself together. So once I settled down, I looked at the phone, and then I opened it up. I actually opened up the email, and I read it, and I just like completely lost it. I had just finished my makeup because I was getting ready to go meet my girlfriend. I completely lost it before I left the house. She said, you saved me. What you said was what the words that you spoke is how I've been feeling, but I never knew how to say them. You said exactly how I've been feeling, and you saved me because I've been feeling like I wanted to end my life. And it could not, I had a loss for words. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
I said, no. I said, I didn't know what to say. So that's why I keep saying there's someone out there that's listening to you. Someone is listening to you. So I say that to say that we all have a story to tell. We all have a message that will touch someone.
Yeah.
So with my story, when I step into her story, I'm just delivering my journey the way that I know, the best way that I know how to. And if I touch one person, I know that I've made a difference. And that meant so much to me. It really did.
And it really does. And it's that one little piece. And sometimes we may not say anything that is like total genius. It's just that one thing that resonates with one person on that particular moment, on that particular day. And there are lots of times that we will hear different things from different people. And then on one particular day, somebody says something and you have that aha moment.
Yes.
The other thing that you said that really, really struck me is within that her story is that we are characters in our story, and we play different characters as the years go on, and what it is that's happening and how it is that we are. So we start off as an infant. So that is our first role. And then we move into who we are and our characters. And based on our experiences, certain characteristics are going to come out, and we do different things to be able to survive that period in our lives. And we continue, and we get to step into with all of our experiences and who we are. And we get to step into this character that we are right this second. This character, and sometimes that character is scared, sometimes that character is confident, sometimes that character is arrogant, sometimes that character is vivacious. Like, it all depends on what it is that's going up and how we want to be able to show up in the world, and what is it that we want to be able to do. And if we can step out of that fear into who we are, makes all the difference in the world, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It makes all the difference in the world. It definitely does. And it definitely makes you who you are at the moment, because you've gone through some life-changing events. And it makes you a better person as well. I am so thankful for the trials and tribulations that I've gone through in my life. And I definitely would not go back and change them, because it allowed me to have growth.
Yeah.
It definitely has allowed me to have growth throughout my life. And looking back on everything that I feel that I have gone through, good and bad, it has allowed me to have a different outlook and a different perspective on life, and just on different how I handle different situations as they come up in life, and how I definitely interact with individuals. And I feel that if you do not grow throughout life, that you have to have growing pains. You definitely need to have growing pains. You definitely do.
So I can't believe that we have been chatting for 40 minutes. This is insane. And I say that often when I'm having these conversations with women, that we just kind of blow through the time, and it's just like unbelievable, because like there's just so many facets to this particular conversation as to how we can kind of where we would actually go. And if we had another conversation tomorrow about the same thing, we would take this conversation to a completely different space and time, just based on how we are both showing up this morning and what it is that's happening. And so I want to thank you very much for coming and sharing your information about this. And so one of the things that you had is that you had a checklist that you wanted to be able to share with the audience. Is that do you want to talk a little bit about that checklist?
The checklist that I had to share was just how to create the life that you want and the life that you love. And the checklist just goes through a few strategies that you can incorporate into your everyday routine. Because I am definitely creating the life that I want. And it's so interesting that I felt that I was living a life that that was just there. It wasn't a life that I truly want. I want to say it wasn't a life that I was wanting. Now I'm creating the life that I love. You kind of just go through your everyday routine. And that's how I felt that I was going through life, just being complacent, going through my everyday routine. And I have a different mindset. I'm not going to settle for less. Everything that I'm doing, I'm being intentional about it. And for 2021, I always, I'm trying to encourage everyone to create their word of the year. And as we began 2021, my word of the year was intentional. So I'm doing everything with intentionality this year. But 2022, I have not decided what my word of the year is going to be as of yet. And I think that's why I have been so consistent with my goals and accomplishing everything that I have wanted to accomplish thus far for this year, because I've been intentional every single day that I wake up. I have goals that I have set for myself on a daily basis, weekly basis, and monthly basis. And I make sure that I do the necessary steps in order to accomplish them. Because I'm goal oriented and I'm a very organized individual. So I'm like very anal when it comes to accomplishing things. My sister gets me a planner like almost every year. And every day I always have to write down what it is that I want to accomplish in my planner. So that keeps me organized. So that's hence the checklist. When you look at the checklist, it's just different strategies that you can incorporate into your everyday routine in order to create the life that you're going to love.
Well, and so this is so I've put the link in the comments. So if you guys want to be able to connect with that, that would be awesome. And so for those of you who are catching the replay, just hashtag replay. Let us know that you're catching the replay. And again, I wanted to be able to remind you of the Loving Acceptance of Yourself 5-day workshop that's going to start September 5th. September 7th, sorry. September 5th is my son's birthday. So I guess I got that stuck in my head. But September 7th, we're going to start, and it's going to be a 7-day workshop. And we're going to be diving in to having that and tapping into that loving acceptance of ourselves. And so we have 12 dimensions on the wellness wheel that we're going to be touching on during that 7 days. So looking forward to having you guys join me for that. And again, thank you so much, Dr. Yudi, for joining us this morning and sharing your story and allowing us to be able to have that opportunity to have that self-reflection. And we would love to have you join us again. So
thank you so much for this opportunity. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation with you this morning. It has been an honor and a privilege this morning to have the opportunity to sit here and chat with you and have this discussion. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I definitely appreciate this.
Thanks again for coming on. And for the rest of you, we will chat next week. Talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.
Bye.